Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 8th March 2021. In this video, we'll be talking about the National Digital Health Mission. But before that, we'll be talking about the present status of healthcare in our country, the National Health Policy, what the National Health Policy 2017 has spoken about the need for digital infrastructure, and how the present mission is relevant in the context of the national health policy and the overall health objectives of our country. We'll be using the article published in the Indian Express as the base for this, but we'll be going beyond this, and we'll be explaining about the entire health sector and the governance structure that it should address. So, this is going to be a bit lengthy, so kindly bear with me. This article is titled In Digital Health Equity First. Basically, this article is about how the National Digital Health Mission is going to act as a harbinger for a transformation in the healthcare sector in our country. But at the same time, it is raising certain issues that are very much relevant in the present context. So, before getting into the details of that, let us understand the importance of health as an indicator for economic development, why it is important to understand the nuances of healthcare delivery in our country, and what all aspects can come under GS2 health syllabus, and how or where is this particular news item with respect to health data infrastructure, that is the National Digital Health Mission, relevant for us in the entire discussion. So let us understand each of that very comprehensively. What exactly do you understand by health? If we were to go with the definition of the World Health Organization, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being. You have to focus on the three aspects here: physical, mental, and social. Generally, whenever we think about health, we just think about it as absence of disease. So, World Health Organization says that that is a very narrow definition of health. It is not just the absence of a disease, but the presence of physical, mental, and social aspects that ensure our well-being, that constitutes the definition of health. So, what are the determinants of good health? So, when you have to understand the determinants of health, the first one is access to healthcare infrastructure. The second one is about the kind of lifestyle a person gets adapted to. For example, in urban areas where the life is more or less very sedentary when compared to the agricultural workforce in the rural areas, the lifestyle determines the kind of health that a person might face in the future. So there are certain lifestyle diseases like diabetes, cancer, all these are very much relevant in our discussion. And the third one is about the mental aspect. So whenever a person feels certain social isolation or social uh, withdrawal, there is a direct correlation to the mental health of that person. It has been proved beyond doubt that social relations contribute to a good mental health of a person. So, at present, if we have to consider India's healthcare system, it consists of a mix of both public as well as private sector providers of health services. Now, this is a problematic issue because unless and until we have an affordable healthcare system in our country, we cannot actually develop the human capital of our country. What do you mean by human capital? It is basically a skilled workforce that is very useful for economic activity. Given the fact that India is entering into a phase of demographic transition where we were expected to reap the demographic dividend, that is, in the age group of 15 to 55, which is considered to be the working age population, India is going to have 60% of the population in this age group by 2047. If we have to use this entire demography in advantage to the vision of our country, we have to give them basic health. That is the most important part. But the fact that the fragmentation of healthcare system in our country has resulted in a state where private entities are much more considered to be efficient, but at the same time they're simply out of reach for common man. What this has essentially done is it has created a huge gap between the rich and the poor, especially with respect to healthcare, and this has been proven time and again, even in the pandemic as well. So, how do we bridge this gap? Trying to understand this and to make informed decisions to increase access, to bring about changes in lifestyle, and also to harness social relations, our government has been trying hard to raise awareness and also at the same time bring in certain policy changes. In that direction only, we have the National Health Policy of 2017. Let us have a look at the broad features of this National Health Policy 2017. If we have to understand the background in which the National Health Policy came into existence, we have to understand the weaknesses in our present health system. Firstly, there is a severe shortage of healthcare professionals. So, the inadequate availability of healthcare services is not just limited to the public sector as it is generally believed, even the private sector faces a severe shortage of healthcare professionals. Second one is about the quality of healthcare services and the regulatory standard for all these healthcare providers are not adequately defined and ineffectively enforced. So that is one more issue which is leading to low quality in healthcare delivery. Majority of the population faces problem in affording the healthcare. So, and this is more true in the case of tertiary care. That is where there is a need for specialty healthcare or need for expertise and intense hospitalization, which results in very high costs. Amidst all this, healthcare costs are expected to increase because of the growing complications of the non communicable diseases like lifestyle diseases that we have just spoken about, diabetes, etc. India is today called the diabetic capital of the world. The incidence of cancer is rising, and at the same time, there is also a increased problem of heart diseases as well. In this entire scenario, there is a need for coming up with a formidable policy to address the shortcomings of our healthcare system. And therefore, the National Health Policy 2017, after enough deliberations and debates, was created. Now, what are the broad features of the National Health Policy and how is it relevant for our discussion? Let us examine. The most important problem that the healthcare service sector in our country faces is the lack of funds. So, in order to bridge that gap, National Health Policy has proposed that we should increase our expenditure, especially the public health expenditure, to 2.5% of the GDP. That is the first recommendation. And the policy advocates allocating two-thirds of the resources to primary healthcare. So 66% to primary healthcare. The reason is most of the diseases in our country can be avoided right at the grassroots level unless and until they are a long term life altering situations like that of cancer. To reduce morbidity and preventable mortality of what is called as the non communicable diseases, we have to advocate pre screening, and this pre-screening will also be done at the primary healthcare center. And the next thing that it highlights is about how we have to intervene at the grassroots level through digital interventions. This is where the present topic comes into picture: digital interventions. The advantage with digital intervention is the fact that it gives us scale and it gives us speed. Any technology that allows us to address a problem at scale and in a very agile manner should be adopted as soon as possible. Sure, there will be certain downsides as well, but it is definitely better than having no access at all. So, in order to address this, we need to come up with certain initiatives like telemedicine. Now, what is this telemedicine? Telemedicine is a mechanism where consultation will happen through phone calls and internet and video calls. This will link the tertiary sector. For example, if you have a big hospital like AIMS, this hospital will be linked to a remote primary healthcare center and district hospitals whenever there is a special case which is referred to the tertiary hospitals. Through consultation, they will be in a position to address the gaps that are there at grassroots levels and suggest appropriate measures. So, for this, we need to create a national knowledge network for teleeducation based on medical healthcare professionals. They need to upgrade their skills from time to time. So, we need a digital library as well. And to address all these issues, we need to develop a database for policy making. That is where the national data infrastructure with respect to healthcare sector came into discussion. So last year in 2020, our government has announced its intention to come up with a national digital health infrastructure scheme. Now, this National Digital Health Mission is a complete digital health ecosystem. The digital platform will be launched with four key features. What are they? Firstly, Health ID. Broadly speaking, there are four features. Firstly, there is a health ID which is unique to every individual. That means every individual will have a identity number linked to his health account. It will track all the developments with respect to that person's healthcare. Second one is maintaining a comprehensive personal health record which can be linked to your health ID. Third one, you will be allocated a particular doctor who will be addressing most of the issues digitally. That is DigiDoctor. The fourth one is Health Facility Registry, maintaining a comprehensive list of healthcare providers. So this will be implemented by the National Health Authority under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. We all know that National Health Authority is also the implementing agency for the flagship scheme Ayushman Bharat. The platform will be available in the form of an app and a website. The DigiDoctor option will allow doctors from across the country to enroll their details, including their contact numbers if they want to, and it will be available for the public. So these doctors will also be assigned digital signatures as a method of authentication. There was a question on the digital signature technology in the previous prelims exam, so please read about this. It will be voluntary for the hospitals and doctors to provide details for the app, and completely this will be private according to the information released by the ministry. However, there are certain issues that are being raised by a lot of healthcare professionals and digital experts. The first one is the sanctity of this healthcare data, and how are we going to protect it from breaches? Because there is a possibility that the entire system might be hacked. Are we having a comprehensive cybersecurity plan in place to address this? That is not clear yet. So, if you take a look at the national health policy document and uh, understand the crux behind it, aiming to provide healthcare in an assured manner to all has been the driving force behind that policy. And technology was considered to be a important parameter in achieving this scale. Therefore, we have to welcome this debate because we have to balance between the need for privacy and also at the same time ensure that we have adequate healthcare infrastructure. It is the responsibility of the government to balance between these two and come up with a comprehensive plan that will address the issues of the people who are raising questions about the privacy and the sanctity of this entire database. That is the gist of this article.